There's a new player in the Australian electric vehicle market. This is the Polestar 2, the very first EV model from Volvo's new electric sub-brand. On paper, it's the right price, it has decent real-world range and performance, and it looks the goods inside and out. Let's take a closer look. The Polestar 2 arrives in Australia from February 2022 as the first of 4 anticipated EV models from the Swede car maker that are set to grace local roads by 2025. It makes no apologies in setting sights on the Tesla Model 3's growing Aussie audience, with an identical $59,900 starting price and 3 different models to choose from, the flagship being the $70,000 all-wheel drive long-range dual motor. Here we're driving the mid-level Polestar 2 long-range single motor, priced at $65,000. It finds itself within proximity of both the Tesla Model 3 and the Hyundai Ioniq 5. In person, the Polestar 2 makes quite a striking first impression with its raised ride height and crisp lines all over. And when you do take a closer look, the attention to detail is strong. Excellent paintwork, consistent panel gaps, and quality materials on the inside and out. Made in China, the Polestar 2 feels every bit as sturdy as its Volvo stablemates. The long-range variant rides standard on 19-inch alloy wheels and features LED lights all round, as well as frameless wing mirrors. At its core is a 170 kilowatt, 330 Newton meter electric motor that drives the front wheels, feeding energy from a 78 kilowatt hour battery pack. Polestar claims that reaching 80% of charge using a 50 kilowatt fast charger will take about 1 hour and 20 minutes. That time increases to about 8 hours when using an 11 kilowatt wall box connection at home. Just like the outside, the interior of the Polestar 2 makes a huge initial statement with its build quality, furnishings and technology. Now this car is based on Volvo's existing CMA architecture, and for that reason it has a few internal combustion legacies like the big transmission tunnel and the footwells at the front. If I'm honest, it's a little bit of a missed opportunity in terms of maximising this car's layout and space, and there are other EVs that do a much better job. The Hyundai Ioniq 5 is one that immediately springs to mind. With all of that said, the materials are top-notch and the driver is cosseted by quality furnishings all round, with a high set window line allowing you to sit low in the cabin. The Polestar 2 uses Google's Android Automotive OS system with Google Play, Google Assistant and much more. The thinking being that the system goes a step further than Apple CarPlay or Android Auto by actually allowing you to adjust vehicle settings. So for example, you can adjust the fan speed. Hey Google, turn on the fan.
Okay, turning on fan.
There you have it, one more way to continue driving without taking your hands off the wheel or taking your eyes off the road. Our test vehicle didn't feature Apple CarPlay, but Polestar assures us that it will be fitted to the first customer vehicles when they're delivered early next year, courtesy of an over-the-air update. Safety isn't so clear-cut for the Polestar 2, in part because adaptive cruise control, rear cross traffic alert and blind spot monitoring are not fitted standard. You can have them fitted, however, if you opt for a $5,000 pilot pack, which bundles in some other inclusions. The Polestar 2 does include all other expected safety systems and is backed by a 5-star Euro NCAP rating. It is yet to be crash tested in Australia. A 405-litre boot area offers enough space for a couple of full-size suitcases, but not a lot more on account of its narrow width. The Polestar 2's liftback design does allow easy loading and unloading from the boot area. So if the Tesla Model 3 is all about raw speed, performance, acceleration and doing everything in relative silence, well for me, the Polestar 2 is more conventional with its feeling and feedback and a lot more linear with its acceleration. That's not to say that the Polestar 2 doesn't get up to speed easily, it does. It's very rarely fuss getting up to highway speed or around town passage, but it's definitely a lot more linear and nowhere near as explosive out of the blocks as a equivalent Tesla Model 3. I'm a big fan of the 3-stage regen brakes on the Polestar 2. They give you everything from neutral-like rolling resistance through to pretty much one-pedal driving, where you rarely need to engage the traditional brake pedal. That's how strong the level of regen is. I'm also a big fan of what Polestar calls the creep function. Basically, at low speeds, so between intersections or traffic lights, when you just need to crawl ahead a few meters, you're able to engage that setting, and it's kind of akin to an internal combustion automatic car that you basically just take your foot off the brake pedal and it rolls ahead under its own power. It's a very natural, organic feeling thing, and it means that the Polestar 2 feels kind of like an internal combustion car in that sense. It's just one less foreign thing about this latest electric car. All in all, I've got to say the Polestar 2 does everything quite well, from the way that you sit down low in the cabin, its outward vision, its assortment of switchgear, and the way that everything's placed. It's a car that you're able to jump into pretty quickly and feel right at home, especially if you've driven anything Volvo related in the past 3 or 4 years. Both front-driven Polestar 2s offer a 0 to 100 time of 7.4 seconds, which is hardly a headline figure in electric terms. Instead, it is the smaller details that define the Polestar 2 drive. Suspended by a McPherson strut front and multi-link rear, the Swede makes no apologies for its on-road tuning. On the road, the Polestar 2 feels inherently sporty. The steering and all the key controls are quite reactive to driver inputs, and there's a decent level of poise and grip on offer for a front drive car. You throw it through a corner and it's pretty well sorted with its front to rear balance and just the way that it conducts itself through fast changes in direction. With all that said though, it is unashamedly heavy at about 2 tons in curb weight. On billiard table smooth roads, that translates to a little bit of busyness over pitter-patter style imperfections. But then when you take the Polestar 2 to a more rugged B-grade country road like I'm on at the moment, it is noticeably firm with the way that it dispatches obstacles. I think the biggest, most pronounced feature of that weight is just the amount of vertical movement, be it through larger drawn out undulations or sharper bumps in the road. There's a lot of movement up and down and you constantly feel it. The car just lacks that key control that you're really looking for, especially for a sportier tuned vehicle. On harsher obstacles, there's a lot of thudding, quite a bit of crashing as well. And then over the more drawn out undulations, you just notice it kind of gets to the bottom of its compression and then rebounds quite harshly. So certainly not as polished or refined as the technology in this car might have you believe. It's not a deal breaker, so to speak, but for me the ride is simply too firm for Aussie conditions.
Noticeable road noise is another detractor from the Polestar's on-road poise, rumbling through the cabin on all surfaces but becoming particularly pronounced on coarse chip bitumen.
In every other respect, this car feels well sorted. You sit nice and low in the cockpit, the door sleeves seem quite high, so you really do feel as though you sit in this car rather than on top of it, which really does buy into that sporty kind of premise.
In terms of all-important efficiency, our long-range test car displayed 430 kilometres worth of range at 100% charge, well short of its 540 kilometre claim. We averaged 19 kilowatt hours per 100 Ks, within reach of the 17.4 kilowatt hour claim. The Polestar 2 is backed by a 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty in Australia, while its battery is backed by an 8-year 160,000 kilometre term. First 5 years worth of servicing are free, reaffirming the Polestar's consumer-friendly appeal.
The Polestar 2 is an impressive first effort from the Swedish car maker and sets an exciting tone for the rest of its model lineup. For me, its internal combustion origins, its cabin fitment and its firm ride are key detractions, but this is still a welcome addition to the EV class nonetheless.